Let's review exam objectives of the Solution Architect Associate. As our first step, let's visit https://aws.amazon.com/certification webpage. Scroll down to Certified Solution Architect Associate section. Click the link to go to Certified Solution Architect Associate page and download the exam guide. The exam guide is your basic artifact to start the preparation. Bookmark or save it somewhere. I extracted needed information from the exam guide and developed next few slides to make things easier. Let's see what are the primary objectives of the exam. First objective focuses on define a solution using architectural design principles based on customer requirements. When they say define a solution using architectural design principles, it means you cannot just design or provide a random solution to your customers. As a solution architect, you have to validate your solution against architectural design principles or best practices. For me, it is more of providing architectural patterns and advice on how to design a system that are secure, reliable, highly performing and cost efficient. It includes a discussion on how to take advantage of attributes that are specific to the dynamic nature of cloud computing like elasticity and infrastructure automation, etc. The second objective states provide implementation guidance based on best practices to the organization throughout the life cycle of the project. The second point is more about implementation guidance based on best practices. As a solution architect, we should know how the cloud computing differs from the traditional data center and how to apply the best practices for the cloud to any lift and shift or new applications. Mainly, best practices from the aspect of scalability, immutable infrastructure, automation, loose coupling, high availability, cost optimization, caching and security. I don't want to go through the details of each one of them here, but to get a feel for, take one example. Immutable infrastructure, one of the best practice. In a traditional environment, you have to work with fixed resources due to upfront cost and lead time of introducing a new hardware. This would drive practices like manually logging into server to configure software or fix an issue, or hard coding IP addresses, etc. When designing for AWS, you have the opportunity to take advantage of the dynamic provision nature of cloud computing. You can think of servers and other components as temporary resources. You can launch as many as you need and use them only for as long as you need them. If there is an issue with one of the computing server, you don't troubleshoot, you simply replace the server with a new one. You build the server once, create the image, and then use it on different environments. When needed, you launch a new instance of the server instead of troubleshooting the existing one. But to implement the immutable infrastructure, you should know how to take advantage of attributes that are specific to AWS Cloud, like AMIs and CloudFormation automation. You may be thinking, how I know all this stuff? Some of the resources that you can use to gain the knowledge are white papers. As per the exam guide, you should review Architecting for the Cloud white paper and AWS well-architected web page, which contains collection of multiple white papers. Now let's move on to recommended AWS knowledge. As per the exam guide, here is the list of things you should know or knowledge you should have. 1 year of hands-on experience designing available, cost-efficient, fault-tolerant and scalable distributed systems on AWS. Hands-on experience using compute, networking, storage and database services. Hands-on experience with AWS deployment and management services. Again, don't get disappointed. It is recommended by AWS but not mandatory requirement or prerequisite. I strongly believe you can successfully complete the certification without such experience provided that you do hands-on practice during your preparation. So please spend more time on hands-on before you attempt the exam. The next group of requirements are ability to identify and define technical requirements for AWS-based application. Ability to identify which AWS service meet the given technical requirement. Knowledge of recommended best practices for building secure and reliable applications on the AWS platform. Don't worry, needed abilities and knowledge can be gained from your learning of various AWS services and reviewing white papers from AWS website. We will be reviewing available paid and free resources later in the video for your exam preparation, and I believe those resources will help you to gain the knowledge to face these requirements. The last group of requirements are understanding of basic architectural principles of building on AWS cloud, an understanding of AWS global infrastructure, an understanding of network technologies as they relate to AWS, understanding of security features and tools that AWS provide and how they relate to traditional services. Again, using the right preparation resource, following my study plan will definitely help you to gain the needed understanding of mentioned areas. Now let's move on to exam domains. Previous version of the exam had 4 domains including design, implementation, data security and troubleshooting. It's more focused on the life cycle of the infrastructure project. Most of the infrastructure related projects normally follows design, implementation, deployment, troubleshooting and ongoing maintenance. The current version is more focused on deployment of AWS infrastructure based on best architectural practices. It addresses foundational areas like cost, security and efficiency which are neglected more often. In addition, it focuses on how your design decisions impact the business. Here is a list of main exam domains and their weightage. AWS has divided the exam questions into 5 different exam domains. Each domain has different weightage. In this exam, the total number of questions are 65. I thought of going through this later in the session, but it's better to discuss this now. Based on the weightage here, for an example, you get 10% from design cost optimized architecture domain, which is 6 or 7 questions out of 65. We have 5 domains here. Domain 1, design resilient architecture, covering 34%. Domain 2, define performant architecture, covering 24%. Domain 3, specify secure applications and architecture, covering 26%. Domain 4, design cost optimized architecture, covering 10%. Domain 5, define operationally excellent architecture, covering 65%. We will review the exam domains in detail later in the course.